Om Sri Sai Ram. We have come here every week. It is because of His love. His love is so much. The reflection of His love is that we are coming for one or other activity, either Balavikas or Bhajan or doing any voluntary work. And today, with His infinite grace, we have one of the best speakers to come and share His love with Swami, Sri Sundara Krishnaswami uncle. Sundar uncle is like, Krishnaswami uncle is a long-time devotee, and professionally he has been in a leadership role in energy sector, and he teaches Vedam and scriptures to many people weekly, and more importantly, he has depth of understanding in Swami's teaching. So it is a great opportunity for us to listen to him. And for past 15 plus years, he has been teaching and sharing in Puttaparthi as a visiting professor. So with this request, Krishnaswami uncle to come and share his.
Om Sri Sai Ram. Please join me if you know this prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It is only Bhagavan's single grace, nothing more than that, nothing other than that, that I'm here today in front of you. And normally I do not sit in front of Swami. Whatever assignments he has given, I've always stood and spoken. But last time I did that in a gathering like this in LA, and I realized my height. So people were all looking at me like this. I felt very bad. So I don't want to put you through that difficulty. That's why I'm sitting here. So please forgive me for that. Now, Om Sri Sai Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Bhavaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satya Swarupaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Satya Dharma Parayanaya Namaha. Om Sri Sai Varadaya Namaha. The thought came to me before my very precious brother, a Swami student, who is right now fulfilling the role of our center president, called me. Even before that, the thought has been occurring, that Bhagavan's thought, that Om Sri Sai Varadaya Namaha. So I suggested the topic to him, and so he kindly agreed. Now I've been allotted 30 minutes, and as you can see, I don't have a watch, and so I request if you could tell me 3-4 minutes before. I'd really appreciate it. And during this session, please feel free to stop me, ask questions, offer clarifications. Honestly speaking, I really do not know anything, to be very frank. Okay? And it's all Swami is doing it, so it's my duty. Now, Varadaya Namaha, Om Sri Sai Varadaya Namaha. Om Sri means blissful. Sai means Divine Mother, you all know that. Varadaya Namaha, Namaha, Namaskaram to you, right? Varadaya, it is generally described as one who gives. Whatever we ask for, he gives, right? That is one meaning. Swami does fulfill that role. Because when I have a need, when I have a want, when I'm suffering something, when I want to achieve something, naturally, who do I turn to? Bhagavan only. So he fulfills that role, no problem at all. But is that all what he is? Does he give only what I ask for? Sometimes he doesn't give what I ask for. Okay? For my own good. And then, I ask so many things from Swami, we all do, because there is really no other recourse in life. And what does Swami ask of me? Swami is also asking something from me. Right? And then, so today, we will very briefly touch upon asking Swami, okay, and getting what I want, what I ask for, and asking Swami and not getting what I ask for, and also what Swami is asking me to do. And the most important, which I will reserve it to the end, the true meaning of Varada, the Swami's grace. Now, a good friend of mine, a lady, a very nice Swami's. By the way, I must correct, I wanted to do that. Sir introduced me as a staunch devotee of Swami. Please, I'm not a devotee of Swami. That title can be conferred only by Swami, nobody else. And When the time comes, I'm sure you will give that to me. Till then, consider me as a fellow pilgrim. Please, no more than that. Now, a dear sister, Swami's, we are all together in the family, and she narrated a beautiful incident, which I'll start with that very briefly. And like some of you, she also wears contact lens. And she had very high power. She was standing right the darshan line, first row, she was waiting, and Swami is about to come. And Swami had come from the Purachandra, and then she was sitting there. And as it happens, one of her contact lens fell down. So she was doing like this, trying to see where it is. Obviously, you know, her power is very high. And meantime, Swami is approaching. So you can't miss the darshan. Darshan is very precious. So naturally her main worry at that time was, oh Swami, I can't see you properly. I know, contact lens is gone, contact lens is gone. So Swami comes there, and so naturally her prayer was, Swami, please give me my contact lens. And next second, she had the contact lens in her eyes. And then, you know, Swami goes one step forward, comes back, smiles at her, and tells her, if you had asked me to give you your vision back, I would have given that to you. Simple. Do I really know what to ask Swami? Seriously. Now, another incident that occurs to me about Swami's robe. Swami's robe is very important to us. Very, very important. You know, sometimes more important than Swami, you know. And so here is, for some of you would have heard this, I'm sure Sarah would have heard this, is, again, students describe this to me. So Swami comes in the darshan line, you know how beautifully he comes, and says, Swami, and what do you want? So I know that's a very loaded question. I mean, it can come to you at any time. Oh my God. Please, because the least time that when you expect it, Swami will ask you, what do you want? It's so casually, doesn't matter how much you prepare ahead of time, at that time the answer will be forgotten. It has actually happened to me. I'm not joking. Anyway, so this time Swami comes there and raises his eyebrow, Swami, I want your robe, Swami. And Swami says, then what will I wear? You know, this is Swami. Another incident about the robe is the same thing. Another student says, a well-built person, you know, tall or whatever. And he says, Swami, I want your robe. And Swami tells him, see, I'm so small. No, this robe will not fit you. You know, I'm very small size. So another answer. So point is, Swami dodges. Swami evades in a very loving way. You know that very beautifully. So this leads to the other story another student told me in our house here. Those days we used to have lots of sons and all that. And so he comes and so he remembers these two instances of Swami's. For him, it was not the robe. He wanted Swami's handkerchief. So sitting in an interview room, and Swami's chair is there, and there is handkerchief there. And Swami gets up and takes one of the people to the inner room, and he is about to come, and the student is sitting here and watching this. Okay, should I go and grab that handkerchief straight away before Swami comes? So his attention is all on that. Can I get it before Swami comes? And Swami is coming here, and what do you want? What are you looking for? Swami, I just want your handkerchief, Swami. Why handkerchief? You can take me if you want. What? This is our Swami. So, do I really know what to ask for? Please, okay? At the same time, there is no other place to go and ask. That is also there, right? I talked to Sir before coming here. I was glad that he was in Vrindavan. And those of you who have been blessed those days know the value of that beautiful tree there. Okay, so beautiful it was. And the So, especially when there'll be a chair put under the tree, and then ladies on that side, gents on the side, and whoever gets to sit close to that chair, I mean, that is most precious, because Swami will be sitting there, bhajans will be going on, and you can have beautiful Pada darshan, so close to Swami. So I had this, okay. One day, Bhagavan brought me there, international travel all the time, back to Puttaparthi and Vrindavan. So that particular day, morning darshan, I'd come from the airport, and then sitting there, and so happened, I got a seat just next to the chair. Oh, here I was imagining, now Swami is going to come any minute, and then comes to the ladies' side, and makes a nice round around the tree, and then nicely is going to come there. Oh my God, I'm going to have such a beautiful darshan today throughout the bhajans and all this. And Swami comes, yes, comes to the ladies' side, yes, gently, and then goes around the tree, and comes here. I'm sitting here, the chair is right here, in between, of course, the pathway, and then Swami comes there, doesn't sit on the chair. So he just goes across to where the ladies are, and turns back and looks at me, and gives me such a mischievous look that I couldn't believe it. I mean, the whole world was melting. I'm sure you've had the darshan where Swami's eye melts, and you can basically, everything melts. The form becomes formless, really, at that time. So he looks at me very smilingly and he goes away. It's a beautiful teaching. Okay, yes, I will give you what you want, but I will also give you what you don't want also. Very, very important. And another incident I'll tell you pertaining to that. Sometimes, now, asking, not getting, you see. It so happened, not too long ago, we have a family guru, a very elderly man, Vedic scholar in all the 4 Vedas, very blessed to be born in that family. And so in casual conversation, see, again, I'd come to Chennai, and then from there, my next stop was Puttaparthi. And he made a comment to me. He said, be careful with Sri Sai Baba. I could not sleep that night. Okay? I said, what is this? So, next morning, I was in Puttaparthi, the whole thing was in my mind. Swami, on one side, this most elderly man, he was in his 90 plus, and he says that not because it affects my thing with Swami, because that's a personal, when Swami decides, nothing can shake it. And, well, with his grace, nothing can shake it. Let me qualify that, please, very important, because he also filters, what he says. I want checking your faith all the time. It's like hitting a nail on the wall, right? Shake it, and if you go, you go. I mean, you don't know when you get the chance again. But so, with all his grace. So anyway, so here I was worried. Okay, because this is mana, this nirudal, the thing we say that's bothering you. And so that morning, those days, the Swami's grace, I was sitting in the veranda. So I was sitting there, and my class was not there till the afternoon. And students were all gone, nobody is there, basically very little crowd, and Swami came. So naturally I sat there, very few people on the veranda that day on our side. And it was a weekday, if I remember right, no particular festival or anything like that. And Swami comes, a beautiful darshan, and then he comes and sits on the dais on the veranda. So I had a very beautiful darshan of Swami, but this is always in my mind. All of a sudden, Swami gives a signal, and that Sevadal, who brings the podium, he brings a podium. I said, my God, Swami is going to give a discourse today. Nothing is scheduled. It's not like crowd is there or anything like that. So naturally, I sit like this, very good. An interesting thing happened. Normally, the podium will be between Swami and the gent side. And one person, Anil Kumar, was called. Normally, as you know, gents have to get gent side, Anil Kumar podium will be here. And when Anil Kumar is standing there and speaking, naturally he's in my line of vision with Swami. That day, they put the podium there. Swami asked me to move it to the other side. I said, oh, Swami. So, now, I don't know why Swami does anything, but I was very happy. Okay? And Anil Kumar goes to the other side. And then Swami starts the discourse. I think the very first sentence was over, that's all. Maybe one and a half sentence, nothing more than that. And all of a sudden he does it, there was a lingam in his hand. I didn't expect it. I was looking at this, and then he says, this is Satyam. Only Satyam can create like this. Okay, in answer to the, not the doubt or anything, there's no doubt in my mind, but the suffering I was going through mentally because of that. You don't know how happy I felt that time. For I'm nobody. For my sake, Swami caused a manifestation lingo, not a lingo dhamam like this, just like this with his hand. And then he says, this is Satyam. Only Satyam can create. And the whole creation comes from Satyam. Lives on Satyam and goes back and merges in Satyam, is what he said. Some of you would have heard about why I brought that occurred to me. It's something I didn't even ask for, but Swami gave. Look at love. Some of you, I'm sure, would have heard of Sinclair from New York, New Jersey. It's a beautiful lesson I learned from Swami. I was not there in that interview. I heard this. And Swami asked Sinclair once, Sinclair, will you do something for me? My God. Swami asks, like Rama asking Hanuman, will you do something for me, Now who will say, yes, Swami, yes, Swami, yes, Swami, yes, Swami. And Swami tells him, Sinclair, I have given you so much. Can you be happy? I was floored. I said, look how much Swami has given to each one of us in our life. How much? Still, we are not happy. What does Swami want me to be? To be happy. That is what he is asking me. Told you, I asked, and what Swami is asking me? To be happy. That's all he wants. Okay? Now, I'll share a few other things. When, what happens? There is as you travel the path holding Swami's hand, different things happen. Nothing wrong in asking, okay? But realizing that yes, you will not get all that you ask for. When you don't get it, it's only for your good. That faith must come. So, okay, that is Swami, that is good. He knows what is best for me, okay? That must come. And then when you're really suffering, not even verbalizing it, not even talking to Swami about it, how he helps you, okay? One more thing I'll share with you. See, when in Saudi Arabia once, one evening time, I was going in the car and there was a T-junction. The signal light, and there was red there. I was stopped right there in the beginning. Okay, I just come this, so I stopped it. I was on the other lane, this lane was there. So 2 lanes, we have to take a left turn. Red light, so cars were speeding along on the T-junction, and then the red turns green. I just landed from North America to Saudi Arabia a couple of days ago, maybe the day before or something. So the practice is always, when you get a green, you go. Yellow, you slow down. So green came, blink, I went. But I forgot the Saudi aspect of driving. They don't stop at red light. So this huge, the mammoth of a vehicle comes there at probably 80 miles an hour or something like that and hits me. Now, that right hit me on the driver's side, where you normally drive. That's exactly where it hit. And the car spins around. And this is the beauty of Swami. I'm telling you, I did not think of Swami. I did not say, Om Sri Sai Ram or anything like that. I mean, it's happened momentarily just like that. Next second, I was out of the car. Then I said, Om Sri Sai Ram and all that. Then I realized how he is one step ahead of me, protecting me always. So without asking, he knows what to do. Okay, Varadaya Namaha, please. So then once in Sao Paulo, I was with Bhagwan's grace in a very luxurious hotel. So I moved in, I brought my package and I sat. And I remember it was an afternoon. And it was really very luxurious. I mean, I'm sure it was. So I turned the computer on, laptop on, and ran Radio Sai. Some budgets came, and I was thinking, Swami, you have given me this luxury here. Okay? I mean, incredible luxury it was. And then there you are, staying in a small room with just a fan, with all the windows closed, and you are the Jagat Pita, the whole Jagat Guru. You are the owner of everything, and there you are. My mind was with him, and here he was giving. Believe it or not, at that time Swami materialized. Swami manifested himself, not in a form way, but in a formless way. It was a beautiful experience. Certain experience cannot be described. But what happened? Why I'm mentioning that? Something that you can relate to. Because the previous one, it's impossible to. How can you describe sweetness? You tell me, anybody? You have to taste it. It cannot be described. So let's skip that part. But what happened, I'm sure you can relate to. Then next day or so, I land in Salvador, in Brazil. I go to my hotel, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I get a call. I said, there's a call for you, somebody waiting there in the lobby for you. Okay, so I pick up the phone. He said, oh, Mr. Krishnaswami? I said, yes. Sai Ram, I understand you're going to give us lectures here. I said, what? Nobody told me anything about any lectures, nothing. Then Swami took me through the whole of Brazil. Okay? And this is what happened. Talking to organization, talking to the public. And it's incredible. Once in St. Salvador, on public meeting, I'll basically share that, and then I think it'll be time to conclude. In the meeting with the public, people who have not really the organization, but one of them, most of them, the divorce rate is very high in Brazil, unfortunately. And there was this lady sitting there, thing like this. She was sitting there, and she was talking in Portuguese. I had a very, 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 very kind young lady who was doing the translation in English and all that. Very, very nice lady she was. So it was going on. I realized she had 5 children, and all those things have been translated, and good suffering. And all of a sudden, she was speaking in Portuguese, and I was answering in English. To one another we were talking. The hearts were connected. I couldn't believe it. I realized it later. The translator was completely absent. That Swami showed me the power, the glimpse into the power of expanding one's heart. Because I literally felt her suffering. That time we connected. This language doesn't matter. So then I said, Swami, if with one person it happened momentarily like that, how beautiful it will be if it is like this all the time with everybody. How incredible experience it was. So these are all how Swami gives. But what is the best he has given? What is the best? Okay. He, right, maybe from birth itself, I don't know, was always crazed, always in the spiritual line. And I was always wondering, so many ways people have talked to, so many books, right, and all these things, but I was not happy. Because why is there so much suffering in the world? Well, I could not find an answer to that. The Buddha forget all that. None of this worked. That did satisfy me. Why is there so many? Swami is Karuna Sagara. Why is so much suffering in the world? And then this was going on. See, what had happened in my, when I was in 11th standard, I think, 10th or 11th standard, walking to the school. I think those, I don't know how many of you from Chennai, but in Mylapore. I'm walking to the school and carrying a school bag and tiffin bags and all that. And on that road, there was a huge placard. All of a sudden, somebody was putting it up, and it had the picture of Sri Sai Baba. There's a new temple coming up. So I passed it. I passed the thing. Then something prompted me after I crossed it to look back at the placard. Later, I realized it was a sign of familiarity. Why? I'll tell you. At that time, I didn't know. I just turned and looked at it. Later, I realized it's a sign of familiarity because this thing with Bhagavan has been going on through for ages. Well, he knows so many births. But this question was in my mind. One thing was I was sincerely pursuing the answer to that. Something that has to appeal to your heart. Not your brain, not your intellect. I mean, chodo, so leave it. So, after I got married, and my father-in-law he's a devotee, because Swami himself has called him a devotee, okay? For a long time, they're all from Venkatagiri Raja's days, those days. And so he used to come, visit us, and for some reason, he always wanted to, so you don't see Swami. I said, no, I was reading all the books from Ramakrishna Mission and all this thing, and then he showed me this glass half full of water and all this, at least what Swami has spoken, and gave me all the books. I said, so what? Everybody speaks about this, what's the great thing? I read books about devotees, and I said, what is this? I was completely turned off. I said, because, I'll tell you why. In India, sannyasis abound, rich sannyasis abound, especially all these people going in Mercedes-Benz and all this rich. I said, he's another sannyasi like that. He must be like Kanchi Sankaracharya, very humble, nothing like that. What is another rich sannyasi is what I was thinking. Very fine. And one day, to top it all, Swami gave me a darshan in Mylapore, in Rajanam, and my car was going this way, and he came out this way on this car. I was going into this house, and he came from this house and turned. And those days, if you remember ambassador car, right? I was sitting in the front and like this, right? You never sit straight in ambassador car. You always like this, right? And for some reason, so that means the car came, and Swami was very close, like how close he was to me in the other car, and he was sitting in the back seat, beautiful. I mean, the halo and the hair and orange, like unbelievable, like sunrise. And so mischievously he was looking at me, and I looked at him, what looked like for eternity. But in my mind, the thought was, oh, there goes another sannyasi, a rich sannyasi, that's what. He was very mischievously. All these things going on, I was dead against Swami. Dead, you wouldn't believe it. My wife is a great devotee, but I was dead against her. In fact, so much so, when after marriage she brought Swami's picture and put it in the puja room. I said, remove it. For us, it's Tirupati Venkatagiri only. So much dead against Swami, and he was mischievously smiling. Then one day what happened in Scarborough, near Toronto, a very nice man, Mr. Pati was there, a great person, the huge center it was. And they used to ask my father-in-law for give a speech and all this. And then one day he said, can you pick him up after this lecture is over? And I said, okay, that you will do for any elderly person, we all do that. I said, okay, even though I refused to. I always used to sit outside the bhajan and not be part of it, And then I said, when will you end? And then he said a beautiful thing, when does the thing end? I said, no, we start at 6 o'clock and we'll end exactly at 7. I said, that's news to me for Indian organization, things never end on time. So he was so firm, I said, okay, I'll come there. And then I go to the huge school gymnasium they have rented, because the Sri Lankan crowd was huge, more like 1,000 people or something like that, huge hall. It's like Sri Lankan COVID, Thiruvananthapuram, with 3 doors and all that. So many people were there. So I go in there, and with cold weather and all that, all jackets all thrown down, chappals and shoes, everything was there. So I was, in my jacket and wearing my shoes, but standing in the mound of footwear, basically. And then I saw through the front door, my father-in-law was speaking, wearing a white like this. Next to him was a Swami picture like this, Swami seated. And then I said, oh my God, it's already close to 7. And then my father-in-law speaking. I know he's a great talker, he's like me. I mean, that's why I asked you to check the time, because if you want to start talking about Swami, there's no end. Okay, seriously. So I said, oh my God, how long will it take? That's exactly the thought went to my mind. That next second he stopped. And taking all these ladies, very beautiful saris and flowers, and so unbelievable. It was so divine atmosphere. And they all started singing bhajans, singing some Arati song. And I was there, oh my God, to be over and watching. And all of a sudden, I saw Narayana on the picture. I couldn't believe it. I was looking at this, and then yes, because Narayana is a family, Sankashakara Galavani, and I was just with beautiful smile, and then literally tears unstoppably were pouring down from my eyes, standing on the mount of footwear and chapels and all this. And something happened. I said, oh my God. But my ego would not allow, because all along I've been opposing Swami, right? I cannot immediately come down. So next day morning, this was evening time, but I could never, that experience I could never forget, and it will never leave me. Through birth it will stay, I'm sure. But then next morning, keeping my ego in check, breakfast time, my wife was making breakfast, my father-in-law came. I don't know any of these songs. I said, what was that last song that you sang? So he mentioned, I don't know, that's not the one. It had Narayana, Narayana in it. And then they sang this. I said, that's the one. And the moment my father-in-law said, if Swami is taking some interest, he said, no, I'll give you some bhajans that sung by Swami himself. So he went upstairs. Those 2-3 minutes he went upstairs and down. I couldn't stop myself. I said, oh, now is good Swami singing his own voice. So now I'm going to hear his voice. I was thinking of Sundaragandam, how Hanuman describes the voice of Rama. It will be like that. I couldn't stop it. And then he brings it, and then after breakfast is over, so it's the usual thing, what people like me do, watch TV, right? And then those days TV used to come, and every 12 minutes there used to be commercial. And commercial, I used to mute it and take a book, whatever book is there inside, and then glance it, and the show comes immediately, put it, watch the show. That is my habit, okay? And so same thing, I sat there in front of TV, and in the meantime, my father-in-law, along with the cassette, he brought this book, and Gita Vahini. And he knew I was interested in Gita and all this. So I brought the Gita Vahini, and I took the book and then just kept it to the side and then watched TV. First commercial comes, mute it, take the book. Not Gita Vahini, another book he gave, okay, which is written by another devotee, the name I forget, the big book. And Gita Vahini comes later. So I opened the book and it's a letter from Swami to students. And where he says, very beautifully, some of you know, some of you may not, so let me share that with you, okay? For those of you who know, you can enjoy it again. Because Swami says beautifully, writing to a student, okay? He says, I am Prema Swarupa, I am Ananda Swarupa, okay? Form of love, form of bliss. What that means, the form of bliss and form of love. So what is my duty? What is my nature? Is to share love, share bliss. But there was no one to share it with. Therefore, I created myself from myself. I was flowed. The answer to the question that I've been, I don't know, searching for how long, but at least this happened when I was 40 years old, okay? From age of whatever, young age onwards going on, I got the answer. Simple. Why is there so much suffering in the world? Swami is telling me, so you can alleviate his suffering, so you can love him, you can care for him. That is why it is given. Okay. Then, moment that came, I opened the Gita Vahini. Forget TV. TV was completely forgot. Believe it or not, it's the old edition of Gita Vahini. I don't know how many of you, some of you would have read, Sir would have read, I'm sure. If you go to the old edition, the Kasturi, my God, so much for people like me who don't know Telugu. It's like Swami talking to me in person directly. It is so beautifully done. No interference, And so page 7 and 8, I still remember in that old edition, where Swami talks about such an assurance, such a confidence that he gives. You can see it is Krishna himself speaking. No difference, no different, I'm telling you. And he says, Manmana Bhava, Madbhakto, Matyaji, Mam Namaskuru. I started taken aback. I was reading this, he gives the, Kasturi has given that, it's written in English, in Sanskrit, Slokam is written in English, and the exact thing is there. And then Sarvadharman Paritijya comes. I said, I read it again, then started reading, basically finished the Gita Vayani in one sitting, with tears coming down my eyes. Believe it or not, I didn't ask for anything, but Swami gave. Then what happened, now where on earth is this Puttaparthi? I'm sitting in near Toronto, I really don't know where Puttaparthi was. Looked up maps, those days we didn't have Google and all that, went to the library, no, I couldn't find Puttaparthi. So I asked people, somebody in center and all, yeah, Puttaparthi is Andhra Pradesh. How far is it from Bangalore? Should I go to Bangalore or Hyderabad? Or is it good from Chennai? None of those things I knew. So what I did, I did a business trip. Went to India. Then I had set up meetings in all the three places, both Hyderabad, Bangalore and Chennai. Still I didn't know how to go, but I made the plan anyway. And then went to Tirupati, as we normally do. Along with my father-in-law. We go there, finish the darshan on Tirumalai, upstairs, and come down. Lunchtime. And then my father-in-law casually mentions that Puttaparthi, you can go by road from here. Immediately I want to go. I said, how long will it take? He said, 7 hours it will take. Okay, I really wanted to go, so we asked to a taxi driver. And taxi driver quoted some money, people bargained, I didn't agree. So we went for lunch. But my heart was, no, I must go to Puttaparthi, you know. And because the call, Swami comes, it is like Shri Baba says, he puts a string around your sparrow, full set like this. And so we were just about finishing lunch, and the taxi driver comes. All of a sudden, sir, I will go for that money, whatever you said. And my mother was there, my uncle was there, my father-in-law and I were sitting on the table. I said, let us go. Immediately I started to my father-in-law. My mother said, why don't you come to Chennai and go? I don't normally disobey my mother. I said, that time I did. I said, no, I want to go directly. So 2 o'clock, we started non-stop. Okay, basically one place to go to the bathroom or something, whatever. The old ambassador it was, and a rickety racket, zig, and all kind of things. We go into Puttaparthi. Those days, Puttaparthi, not like today it was. Just let me finish this, just approaching the end. Because this is where true Varadayas really is. And then we entered. Night time, ashram is closed, but they let us in. And Swami said, my father-in-law said, this is where Swami stays. I looked at it, the windows are all closed. And in my mind, I'm announcing, Swami, I'm here, as if he doesn't know, But then next morning, this darshan I'll say, and then we'll conclude, because difficult to stop. My mind goes, all those things, right? Beautiful darshan. Those days, some of you would have been there in the early days of Puttaparthi, when there was no Saikulvanthal, nothing, the Ganesha statue in the beginning, and then these chained things, semicircular, sand. And then Swami will come. There was beautiful flute music, unbelievable, that's announcing Swami is going to come. And so we used to have tokens those days. And we had to, early morning, 4 o'clock, we run and then sit in the line and pick a token and all this. And those days, and it so happened, my father-in-law got a token. He said, oh, I've got row 2, I'm very happy and all this. I said, what is the big deal, I didn't know. So we were sitting in the second row, and the first row was there. And then the flute music had started. At that time, for no reason, the person sitting in front of me got into a tiff with the Sevada. Some kind of a thing where he got up and went. I don't know how it happened. To me, these are all new things, first time. And he just went, immediately my father-in-law grabbed it. I said, come on, and he said to me. So then Swami comes, and first thing I saw Swami's darshan was his Abhayhasta. And he came out of it door there in the mandir, I still remember that. So beautiful it was. And then he comes around. Now, I learned one thing, I learned two things actually at the time. is Swami, when came very close, I closed my eyes and was praying to him because I knew who he was. That is beyond doubt. After that, of course, I did some other checks and all that. That's all. We don't have time. But this is very important. Since my heart knew who it was, okay, forget the mind. The mind doesn't work there. And you know, because when the true knowledge is only in Anubhavam. Okay, not in interpretation and no. Anubhavam is where nobody, even your mother cannot shake it, you know. And so that is not the problem. So when he came there, he is Paramatma himself, right? Parabrahmastim and Narayanam, I was worshipping. So I closed my eyes and was praying. And my father-in-law tells him in Telugu, sir, the alludu or whatever that word is for son-in-law, you know. He says, and I could hear this Swami's beautiful voice, Telusu, and he said. And then he materialized some vibhuti, and then Swami goes. And my father-in-law was very happy, and I was in a different world, so to speak. So I opened my eyes, and my father-in-law said, he takes a vibhuti, he said, and did you see Swami? So he was blessing you like this. And I said, no, I closed my eyes. He said, no, when darshan comes, you should never close your eyes. I learned that. I also learned another thing, which is the main thing of Varada. With that I'll conclude, because I think Sir is looking at his clock, and he also looked at so I must have exceeded the time, I think. So please bear with me. No, please bear with me. Difficult to stop, I mean, honestly, because you're taking me to a different world, you know, honestly, okay? So, Varada. Vara means best. When Swami has given himself to each one of you, to me, to you, otherwise how will you be here? How many people are not even aware? Even in my own family, not many people are even aware. But how is that? Swami has given himself and told. Tell me, honestly, what can be a better gift than Bhagavan himself? That is what we have. That is why Om Sri Sai Varadaya Namaha. Are you all happy? Om Sri Sai Ram Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Uncle, thank you so much for sharing such a wonderful experience and expression of Swami's love and expression of your love to Swami. Some other session we want you to share many of your experience, and for some more time, not limiting just for 30 minutes. It should be a long session. Let's plan. Thank you so much, Uncle. Sai Ram.